Hello, SynGAP Families. My name is Mike Graglia. I'm the Managing Director of the SYNGAP Research Fund, one of the founders. And this is the first episode of SYNGAP10. SYNGAP10 is an update from me once a week, 10 minutes or less, so that you can know what's going on. Anyone's welcome to listen to it, of course, but really this is for the families because SYNGAP Research Fund exists for the families and the patients with SYNGAP1. Just going to tell you what happened this week, what's going on, what I'm looking forward to. Coolest thing that happened this week is another pharma company reached out to us and said, hey, we're really thinking about SynGAP. Would you tell us what you know? And of course, we scheduled that meeting as fast as we could. And we're looking forward to telling them everything we know about SynGAP. If you want to know what we're telling them, hit me with a message. I'll share the deck with you. There are no secrets here. We're just basically going to them and saying, SynGAP's a big deal, turns families' life upside down. And we think that a lot of patients get missed for a lot of reasons. So yeah, you should totally invest in this because you could really improve a lot of lives, not just the patients, but their families. And there's probably going to be a lot more patients found over time. The one thing that they ask us in every meeting is, hey, what's the one thing that you as a family, if we can't fix everything, what would you like us to go after? That's a really hard question. Do we say epilepsy? Do we say behaviors? Do we say sleep? Do we say cognition? Do we say communication? Do we say everything? Do we say once you fix seizures, the rest will get better? It's a super hard question, and I think it's one that we need to put into a survey to the community, maybe one of our Friday polls on the SynGAP Global Support List, so that we can see what you would say, because that question comes in every single meeting with a pharma company, and it always leads to an interesting discussion. So that's the good news for the week. New big company reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want to do SynGAP, and we're going to be putting on the sales pitch on behalf of everybody." Other exciting news is another company came to us and said, "Hey, we have this product, and we'd like to do a trial with your patients, and we heard you have this incredibly cool natural history study that we could build the trial on, saving lots of time and money." And we said, yeah, it's Citizen. And we got the Citizen team on the phone and we had a meeting with them, and we're going to go to the next step in that process. And what that means is that the people who've signed up for Citizen will just be invited to participate if they meet the inclusion criteria, which I think are, kids age 3 to 17. So most of the people on Citizen will be eligible and for this drug that really has shown remarkable results in early trials. So for the 93 people who have pathogenic or likely pathogenic mutations that are on Citizen, good news, buckle up. Good news is coming. If you're like, wait, I want to be a part of that, sign up for Citizen. It's not hard. Citizen.com/SynGAP1. Citizen with 2 I's, CIITIZEN.com/SynGAP1. And because frankly, it's the best data set out there. So if you're a drug company trying to run a trial, it's what you would use. And SynGAP Research Fund covers all the costs. SynGAP Research Fund covers all the costs. It is free. Please sign up for Citizen. You will get a cool dashboard, and you will get a great way to manage your kids' records, and you will be contributing to science because researchers can get anonymized data on all of our patients in Citizen, and it just saves them a lot of time, so they can stop wasting time consenting people and they can start spending time figuring out our crazy disease. So sign up for Citizen. Yeah, so number one was cool drug companies reached out and we're gonna have a meeting. Number two was another drug companies reached out, wants to do a trial, and we'll be reaching out to people in Citizen to take part in that trial. Number three, Sprint for SynGAP is going really well. Number of families have had teams set up, and they're reaching out to their friends and raising money to fund research we're doing. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I got to tell you, the coolest thing about Sprint for SynGAP, aside from the fact it's easy, you just go, you register your team, and you get a little page, and you can share that page out with people. Aside from that, the cool thing is, by going to your friends and family and saying, hey, if you can spare $5, $20, $100, whatever bucks, please support this research. It's a way to introduce them to SRF, and then they can check out the site and they can learn about SynGAP. And if your kid has SynGAP, you don't have time to tell all your friends and family all the things. But you can say, hey, check out this website, watch the webinars, read the articles, learn about what our family's up against. And you might find that your friends who don't know how to ask would welcome that resource. So Sprint for SynGAP is an important way to connect with your community, give them the chance to support our work, but also give them the chance to learn about this crazy rare disease that we're all struggling with and learning about ourselves. I'm really excited about Sprint for SynGAP. The actual event is next month. I have to look at the calendar and make sure I get this right. April 24th. So there you go. April 24th. We're all going to be doing a 5K with our friends, tweeting and taking pictures and sharing them on Facebook, and raising a good amount of money for SynGAP research. So what are we doing with all that money? Where's it all going? It's going. Let me tell you, it's going right now at a number of institutions: Scripps, Baylor, UPenn, USC. There are people working supported by SRF. USC, we're giving them the money. They're still hiring the person, so that's not happening yet. But those other places, it's happening, and that's where the money's going. And the next thing we're going to be investing in, well, it has actually two things. One is a high throughput screen for drug discovery, and the other is EEGs. Those crazy tests we subject our kids to identify a biomarker for SynGAP. So let me just talk about that really quickly, what that means. I got 3 minutes left. Drug discovery. So what we're going to do, we're going to take worms and fish, and we're going to just like we do with mice, we're going to give them a SynGAP mutation. Worms are crazy. They grow really fast. You can make tons of them. And then as soon as they figure out what to measure, so what does a worm with SynGAP having a seizure look like? We don't know yet, but we're going to find out. And then we just take a drug library and we throw all those drugs at those poor little worms. And the worms that stop seizing, stop exhibiting a phenotype, as a scientist would say, that's an indication that, hey, maybe this drug would work in humans. And then we go and we put it in dishes, whatever. Or we go and we throw it at zebrafish, which is the next level. So, urgency is the third word in our mantra. We don't have time to wait for some of the there are some massive screens going on, but they're taking years. We don't have years. Our kids don't have years. If there's a drug out there that can help, we need to find it fast. And there's a company that does this and does it really well. They're in Canada. They're called Medellis, and we're talking to them, and we're excited to do worms and fish with them. That's going to start with a $30,000 grant, but the whole process is about a $200,000 grant. So that's a lot of money. And we need your help to raise it so that we can find drugs to help our kids. It's that simple. The other thing we're doing is an EEG biomarker, which would be with a group of scientists who do this really well and have done it for 3 major neurological diseases. And basically what that would do is we take 20 of our kids, we put research grade EEGs on them, collect the data, and then those scientists would review that data and try to figure out if there's something we can measure that we've missed that is uniquely SynGAPian, so that when a clinical trial happens, we know how to measure success. So you got to think about this for a second. We all want these drug companies and these researchers to dream up or identify or find or create some kind of therapy that's going to make our kids make more SynGAP and be less disabled. Right? Scientists get nervous when we say cure. I have mixed feelings. I want them to cure SynGAP, but I realize what the scientists are saying. It's going to be hard to cure SynGAP, so don't say cure. I'm like, I kind of like saying cure. Whatever. Punchline. When they get a drug that can help our kids make more SynGAP and have less seizures, more intellect, more sleep, whatever it is, how are we going to measure that? What is it you're going to look at on day 1, give your kid a drug on day 2, and measure on day 60 or day 90 or day 120 and say, yeah, that got better? Are you going to count words? You're going to count hours of sleep? Are you going to count seizures? We're not going to take our kids off their seizure drugs. Are you going to measure how well they walk? And then, even if you have your answer for your kid, what is that thing that we could measure across 20 of our kids? Because you all know, if you've been around for a while, our kids are pretty different. And they're all the same. They all wake up at weird hours. They all have seizures. They're all, What do we measure is actually a really hard question. And that's why SRF is focusing on that question right now, because it's the thing we have to fix. What do we measure? So that's what's going on. I'm at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm going to stop talking now and put this on Facebook. Any questions, put them in the comments. Let me know. My email is mike@syngapresearchfund.org. I work every day for free on SynGAP because this is all I can think about. So if you have questions or comments, let me know. Excited to share this news with you. I'm going to do this every week. Bye.